Emily Carter tied her apron tighter around her waist, took a deep breath, and whispered to herself, "You can do this." She was 27, with tired hazel eyes and brown hair pulled into a messy ponytail. There were faint dark circles under her eyes that no amount of concealer could fully hide. She hadn't slept much again. Her 7-year-old son, Noah, had a fever most of the night, and the babysitter had cancelled last minute. Emily had begged her neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, to watch him just for the morning shift. As Emily picked up her notepad, her hands trembled slightly. Bills were due. Rent was late. And yesterday, her manager had warned her, one more complaint, and she'd be replaced. "I'm sorry" had become her most used phrase, slipping out of her mouth before she even realized it. The door opened again, and a man walked in alone. He looked to be in his early 40s, wearing a dark jacket, jeans, and boots dusted with dried mud. His face was calm but carried a quiet heaviness, like someone who had seen a lot of life. He sat in a booth near the window and glanced around, taking in the familiar, worn comfort of the diner. Emily approached him with a practiced smile. "Good morning, sir. I'm so sorry, welcome to Rosie's. Can I get you some coffee?" The man smiled gently. "Coffee would be great. Thank you." Emily nodded quickly and hurried off, nearly bumping into another waitress. "I'm sorry," she blurted out automatically. As the diner filled up, things started going wrong. An order got mixed up. A plate slipped and shattered near the counter. The cook yelled that they were running behind. Emily bounced from table to table, apologizing over and over. "I'm so sorry for the wait. I'm sorry, that's my fault. I'm really sorry, I'll fix it right away." At the booth by the window, the man watched quietly. He noticed the way Emily's shoulders hunched every time she said sorry, like she was shrinking a little more each time. When she finally brought his breakfast, eggs a little overcooked, toast slightly burnt, her eyes filled with panic. "I'm so sorry," she said quickly. "I can take it back, It's okay," the man interrupted gently. "Really? It's more than fine." Emily hesitated, surprised by his calm tone. "Are you sure?" He nodded. "Absolutely." She forced a smile and walked away, but the knot in her chest didn't loosen. 10 minutes later, another table complained loudly about their order. The manager shot Emily a sharp look. Her throat tightened. She felt that familiar sting behind her eyes. When Emily returned to the man's table to refill his coffee, her hand shook so badly that some spilled onto the table. "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," she said, grabbing napkins. "I'm really sorry, That's when it happened. The man slowly stood up from his booth. The entire diner seemed to quiet, forks pausing midair. Emily froze, her heart pounding. This was it, she thought. Another complaint. Another reminder that she wasn't good enough. But instead of raising his voice, the man spoke clearly and calmly, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You don't need to keep saying sorry." Emily looked up, confused. He continued, turning slightly so others could hear too. "I've been watching you all morning. You're working harder than anyone in here. You're kind. You're trying your best. And none of that deserves an apology." The room was silent. Emily felt tears slip down her cheeks before she could stop them. I don't want to mess up," she whispered. The man's voice softened. "I know that feeling. But sometimes, people don't need perfection. They just need to be seen." He reached into his wallet, placed cash on the table, far more than the cost of the meal, and then did something no one expected. He pulled out a small folded note and handed it to Emily. "For you," he said. "Read it later." Emily nodded, unable to speak. The man walked toward the door, then paused and looked back. "And by the way," he added with a small smile, "You're doing a good job." The bell jingled as he left. For a moment, no one moved. Then a woman at another table wiped her eyes. A man at the counter cleared his throat and said, "She really is doing great." One by one, customers began leaving bigger tips. Some smiled at Emily. One even said, "Take your time." Emily went to the back room, sat on a crate, and finally opened the note with shaking hands. It read, "Years ago, my wife was a waitress just like you. She apologized for everything too. Life was hard, and she thought being invisible was safer than being confident. She passed away last year. If she were here, I'd want someone to remind her of her worth. Today, that someone was me, for you. Don't forget it." Emily pressed the note to her chest and cried silently. That afternoon, when her shift ended, Emily picked up Noah from Mrs. Thompson's house. He smiled weakly and hugged her. "Did you have a good day, Mom?" She knelt and hugged him tightly. "It was a hard day," she said honestly. "But something good happened." That night, Emily made a decision. She applied for a community college program she'd been too scared to try before, nursing assistant training. It wasn't easy. There were long nights, early mornings, and moments she wanted to quit. But every time doubt crept in, she remembered the man in the diner and the way he stood up, not to complain, but to protect someone's dignity. Months later, Emily still worked part-time at Rosie's, but she no longer apologized for existing. She smiled more. She stood taller. And sometimes, when a new waitress nervously whispered, "Sorry," one too many times, Emily would gently say, "Hey. You're doing okay." Because kindness, when shared, doesn't end. It multiplies. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.